Bienvenidos. How are we doing, everyone? Good, maybe? Can you hear me? I'm getting very zero response. Can you hear me? There we go. Hello. Go ahead and take your seats if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being here. You can dive into those salads, or if you're like me and a dessert person, that's sitting there too on your table, so feel free to indulge in that while we're chatting. So again, good afternoon and welcome to the luncheon of the Hispanic Women's Organization of Arkansas, their annual conference, Hope with Action. Thank you for choosing to spend the day with us at this important annual event. My name is Antoinette Grajeda. I am the deputy editor at the Arkansas Advocate. We are a nonprofit newsroom dedicated to looking at the impact of state politics and government on Arkansans just like you. I hope you've all been enjoying the conference so far. I hear there were some really great sessions this morning on politics, education, women, the LGBTQ plus community, and we have more engaging discussions ahead, including from our keynote speaker in just a little bit. Today we are focused on hope, which comes with faith when faith is present and we're able to acknowledge that change is possible. Hope is a work in progress, and it requires action. The organizers of today's event would like to remind our guests that being informed and civically engaged can help us work together to achieve a better future. Speaking of civic engagement, we're going to hear from a couple of our local mayors right now. And first of all, I would like to invite Mayor Sprouse, Mayor of Springdale, up to the podium right now. And I also hear it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes, I'm old. Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me again. I think I was talking with Mayor Hines earlier. I think this is my 17th. This is my 17th year as mayor, and I don't believe I've missed one. And it's always such an important event to celebrate your success and what you do for our community. And I always love to take an opportunity to personally thank you for that. I was asked to say just something forward-looking. Obviously, I'm not making news by saying that we're in a very fast-growing area, and we expect that to continue. Each of our cities have received our population estimates for the next 25 years until 2050, when our area is expected to pass the 1 million resident milestone, and I just want to give you something to think about as we prepare for that growth and ongoing preparations for that growth. Every city, large and small, are going to have to be a part of the answers that we need to work together to help address some of these issues. You've got solid waste issues, you've got water and sewer issues, you've got road infrastructure, housing, just density issues that we need to have a paradigm shift, and many communities are ahead of others on that. And I know in Springdale, I think everybody's getting it now that for efficient delivery of services, we need to encourage more density, and that's the only way we're going to be able to effectively address this growth that we're experiencing now and have been experiencing and certainly will in the future. When we get 1 million people in this area, there are a lot of things that are going to have to change. And I think back often to the development, the building of Beaver Lake. That process started back in the 1950s when someone, or a group of someones, I could name a few names, saw the need for a dependable and adequate water source if Northwest Arkansas was going to grow. And I marvel at that accomplishment, because most residents of Northwest Arkansas did not realize the need, but a few did. And you know, I'm here with 2 other mayors this morning, and I can tell you that just getting right of way for a street is difficult enough. But to condemn farms and get farmland, eat up farmland for a lake that most of the population didn't even agree that we needed, had to be a gargantuan task. But if that had not happened, we would not be Northwest Arkansas would not be recognizable today. We would not have any of the great growth and the quality of life that we enjoy today. There have been other regional projects since then. XNA is one, certainly. On a slightly smaller scale, but one that carried great impact, was the Razorback Greenway. Communities worked together to get that done. And we've got, as we think about being involved and future elected leaders, there's going to be a real need for mayors, for city councils, for planning commissions to think more regionally. We'll always need to protect who we're directly elected to serve, and that's the residents of any given city. But as counties work with us and we all work together, we've got some big issues coming at us. And we can do it. Northwest Arkansas has always done it. But it's going to take a real spirit of cooperation between cities and counties. And who we elect and how we elect them, and who wants to get involved. And it doesn't have to be an elected position. There are a lot of great positions I know in Springdale that we appoint, Greg, but they will play a big role in how, at least for Springdale's part, we're able to help address and work with the region for some of these major issues that we're going to be facing as we address our growth. All good problems to have. Growth is a great issue to have if you're going to have an issue, but with it comes some real decisions that we need great folks that will get in there and work for not only the area they represent, but for all of Northwest Arkansas. Anyway, with that in mind, I hope I've planted a seed. I was told once that the best way to test the soil is to go ahead and throw a seed out there. So hopefully, I know there are young leaders in this room that will be a part of these solutions. And so thank you to the HWOA and your role in education and in supporting education for the residents of Northwest Arkansas. Congratulations on another year, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks again, and happy birthday. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Next up, we have the Mayor of Rogers, Mayor Greg Hines, if you'll join us, and you can give him a round of applause if he makes his way up here.
Well, good morning. Thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this today, Margaret. It's always great to get to see you, some screen time with you and FaceTime to say hello, and how much we appreciate the movement that you make in our community. You know, your theme is talking about hope. And unfortunately, in the society we live today, hopelessness is one of the biggest threats that we face. 68% of young females in the United States admit to feeling hopelessness. Another 40% of those have contemplated suicide. We have an epidemic of hopelessness in our society. And we had this epidemic of hopelessness prior to where we find ourselves in a political arena. And so if we had levels of hopelessness reaching all-time highs prior to just a year or so ago, you can imagine where hopelessness stands today. And I can tell you that it doesn't really matter what side of the political spectrum you find yourself on. Nobody's happy right now. Nobody's being served right now. And I say this again, reminding you, regardless of where you sit on the political spectrum, and regardless your expectations of what you believe your country should represent or should deliver in its services to you, you're not being served right now. And that can give us all a reason to pause and be a little hopeless. But you know what? This country's been in places like this before. We've been in dark spots. We've been in darker spots, believe it or not, than where we are right now. It's just hard to believe because we haven't lived through it. But I had the opportunity just a couple of days ago to spend time with a young lady that turned 100 years old. And I walked into the party, and I see some folks all gathered around for a photo op, and I see the photographer, and I'm looking through the group thinking, well, surely the birthday girl is in this group. I can't find her. And then as the group breaks up after the photo's taken, this spry young lady at 100 comes shuffling over to say hi to me and give me a high five. She had more energy than I did and looked better than I did. But the one thing I'll remember forever that she said during her little birthday speech was that she'd lived 100 years and seen a lot of things. But that there's one thing she's absolutely certain of, and that is that we should never give up hope, that there are good people in this country, there are good people in this world, and we will rebound. So because of that, I'm going to remain faithful and hopeful, and I hope that you will too. Congratulations on the work that you're doing here today. It's important work for our community. Continue to be that voice and to advocate for the greater cause of community. Thank you.
And next up, we have one of the region's newest mayors, the mayor of Fayetteville, Molly Ron.
Thank you, Antoinette. And thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this day. I am a new mayor and a first-time elected official. I took office in January of this year, and so this is my first time attending this event, but I can promise you it will not be my last. I'm not going to speak for very long because I don't want to stand in the way of us hearing from Keesa, because she is incredible, and of those of you who have not had a chance to hear from her before, you are in for a treat, I promise you. Two things that I wanted to say that came to mind when I thought about today's theme of hope, and that is that if people ask you why you have the audacity to have hope at a time when it is very, very easy to lose hope, sometimes it's a choice. I'm sure you're familiar with that idea, that notion of fake it until you make it. Sometimes I don't feel hopeful, but I decide and I make a decision that I am going to be hopeful because I don't like the alternative. And I think that that's really important, and that's something that I know so many of you in this room embody. The second part of that theme of y'all's hope being in action, I wanted to read a quote to you today from Frida Kahlo, and I apologize for not being able to read it appropriately in the original Spanish. I'm going to say the English translation, which I know is a little bit lacking. But it is, "Do not wait for things to be given to you. Go out and conquer them." I think we have to go out and conquer hope sometimes. We can't wait for it to be given to us, and we can't wait for it to be easily found, because sometimes it's not. We have to decide. So thank you all for being an organization that gives hope to so many people, and thank you for allowing me the honor of being here with you today. Thanks.
Thank you to all of our mayors for being here today, your continued support of this organization and this conference, and thank you for your hopefulness and your dedication to the democratic process and representing your constituents. And while we're talking about the democratic process, do we have any other elected officials here today, or anybody else that's running for office? If you wouldn't mind standing so we could recognize you as well for your service. Thank you so much for your dedication to your community and what you do. And while we are thanking people, also want to thank the cooks and servers and volunteers who've helped prepare this delicious meal that you're enjoying. So why don't we give them a round of applause as well, please? Up next, I'm going to invite Alan Lord, a member of the Hispanic Women's Organization of Arkansas's Board of Directors, and she's going to help introduce this year's recipient of the Community Excellence Award.
Thank you. The HWOA Annual Community Excellence Award recognizes an individual or agency in our community that through their leadership, actions, work, influence, and attitudes has demonstrated excellence in their service, promoting advancement for all. Such actions and work must be inclusive and not benefit one specific group, but the whole community and the state of Arkansas. The agency we honor this year offers comprehensive, person-centered support for individuals with disabilities and their families across their lifespan. Arkansas Support Network is a licensed statewide provider of disability services, grounded in the belief that every person has the right to live in a loving home and a caring community as an active, valued member. ASN's goal is to empower people to live rich, meaningful lives and to fully participate in the communities they call home. ASN supports each person's right to be fully included in community life. It envisions a future where individuals with developmental disabilities have power and choice in making decisions and directing their lives. And ASN is committed to strengthening the broader community. Arkansas Support Network was founded in 1988 in Northwest Arkansas by a group of determined parents under the principle that individuals with disabilities and their families should have control over the support they receive. ASN has offices in Springdale, Fort Smith, Camden, and Jonesboro, but its work takes place in homes and neighborhoods across Arkansas. So this year, the Hispanic Women's Organization of Arkansas is pleased to recognize Arkansas Support Network with the Community Excellence Award. We invite Dr. Sayard Evans, CEO of Arkansas Support Networks, to the stage to accept the award.
It is, which mic is me? This one? Okay. It is such a privilege and an honor to be here, first and foremost, and to have a decades-long partnership with the Hispanic Women's Organization. Our mission has always been that we show up every day with a commitment to say that all people are valuable, worthy members of our community, and it's our job to ensure that they're included and supported. And decades ago, we recognized that the work that we were doing was not touching all of our community, that there were language barriers and cultural barriers to the way that we were trying to support folks. And we set out to improve that. And the Hispanic Women's Organization has been a vital partner for us for decades in figuring out how we can be better at the work that we do for everyone in our community. And we would not be able to have the reach and the expansion that we have today without that partnership. So to be honored by such an amazing organization is something that is very meaningful for us. We're excited about the continuation of that partnership and the work we can continue to do. Thank you all.
Congratulations, and thank you for all that you and your organization have done and continue to do. Congratulations again. While we are thanking people, we also cannot forget to thank our sponsors. You'll find many of them in the program, including the League of Women Voters, Tyson Foods, Cargill Community Clinic, the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, and many, many more. Of course, we could not be here without the Jones Center, who has been a great host for us for years and years and years. So round of applause for all of our sponsors that have helped make this possible. All right, I know most of you have your food and you want to take a minute to eat. So while you're enjoying your meal, we're going to get to listen to some music from a talented local artist. Please welcome to the stage JP and the Old Soul.
that should have been a JP, the old soul. I don't have anyone else coming up with me on the stage today. Anyway, muy buenas tardes, damas y caballeros. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juan Pablo Garcia Vallejo, or as you heard, JP. I will be playing a few melodies for you beautiful, beautiful people here today. Melodies that represent a lot about my culture, meaning the world of Mexico and the culture that I found here when I came here a long time ago. I like to start off with a song that was popularized by the artist Michael Bublé, but traces back to the original version sung by Dean Martin. But way before that, it had Hispanic roots, sung by artists like Pedro Infante and other salsa bands. This is Sway. When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway, like a lazy ocean hugs the shore. Hold me close, sway me more. ¿Quién será la que me quiera a mí? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será la que me dé su amor? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será? Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I go weak. I can hear the sound of violins long before it begins. Dance with me as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. He querido volver a sentir la pasión y el calor de otro amor que me hiciera sentir, que me hiciera feliz como ayer lo fui. ¿A quién será la que me quiera a mí? Hey, ¿quién será? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será la que me dé su amor? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será? When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway, like a lazy ocean hugs the shore. Hold me close, sway me more. ¿Quién será la que me quiera a mí? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será la que me dé su amor? ¿Quién será? ¿Quién será? When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway. Dance with me as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. Ahí quedó ¿Quién será? Sway by Michael Bublé. I'd like to go ahead and start with this other song that was also popularized in Mexico and it stayed that way. But it was also covered by a bunch of English artists as well. Artists like Frank Sinatra and the Beatles, I believe. This is Bésame Mucho. Para todos que estén bien enamorados. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, perderte después. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piensa que tal vez mañana yo ya estaré muy lejos de ti. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a perderte, perderte después. This joy is something new, my arms enfolding you. Never knew this thrill before. Whoever thought I'll be holding you close to me, whispering, it's you I adore. Dearest one, if you should leave me, each little dream would take wing and my life would be through. Bésame, bésame mucho, hold me forever and make all my dreams come true. Hold me forever and make all my dreams, make all my dreams come true. Thank you very much. That was Bésame Mucho. With this next song, needs a little backstory. So in Mexico, there's a traditional genre of music called a potpourri. And I believe in English it's called a medley. But what a potpourri is basically just a mashup of songs that pay homage to an artist. And I was thinking of ways to mix the both cultures together, the best of both worlds, include a potpourri for someone from America. And I thought, no better option, there would be no better option than Johnny Cash, the legend of Arkansas. And the thing about Johnny Cash, each and one of his songs was a protest. And that makes me love Johnny Cash a little bit more. You know, I grew up with his music, but, you know, watching his movie and whatnot, it, you know, what a great man. So I like to pay tribute to this Arkansan legend, Johnny Cash. I hear the train a-comin', it's rollin' round the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rollin' on down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, Always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Well, I bet there's rich folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But those people keep a-rolling, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they'd free me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, I'd bet I'd have it moving a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I'd like to stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle blow all my blues away. How many of y'all know this one? I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the ties that bind. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Well, I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when each day's through. Yes, I'll admit that I'm a fool for you. Because you're mine, I walk the line. As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. And happiness I've known proves that it's right. Because you're mine, I walk the line. You got a way to keep me on your side. You give me cause for love that I can't hide. I know for you I'd even try to turn the tide. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Let's see how low I can go. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the ties that bind. Because you're mine, woo! I walk the line. Because you're mine. Man, that's low. I walk the line. We got one more. And I'm sure all of you in this room got to know this one. Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child, oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I see you singing along, Mayor. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. towards Johnny Cash. Little medley, little potpourri, as some of us would say. Excuse me, y'all, I'm a little out of tune here. There you go. Well, I like to go ahead and finish off with this song. This is a legendary song that was written by a French man, but was later translated by the artist Paul Anka, and was later sung by Frank Sinatra. Then it was translated to Spanish and sung by artists like the Gypsy Kings and Vicente Fernandez. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll make it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was sound, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. Quizá también dudé cuando yo más me divertía. Quizá yo desprecié aquello que no comprendía. Hoy sé que firme fui y que afronté ser como era, y así logré vivir a mi manera. Porque sabrás que un hombre al fin conocerás por su vivir. No hay por qué hablar ni qué decir, ni recordar ni qué fingir. Puedo seguir hasta el final. A mi manera. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasant 15 minutes with all you beautiful, beautiful people. Enjoy your food. Provecho. I say my farewell. Thank you.
Thanks so much. That was fantastic. Thank you again to JP, the old soul. How about another round of applause? That was really great. A lot of people seem to be enjoying that. Can they find you on social media, online? Where can we send them?
Of course. You can find me as JP Vallejo, Vallejo. If you want a personal business card as well, please approach me because my name's a little hard to spell. You got to spell out the whole Juan Pablo Garcia Vallejo.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. We appreciate it so
Thank you very
much.
much.
And we also appreciate every single one of you here and our sponsors for attending and making the time out of your busy day on the Friday to come hang out with us. We really appreciate it. This annual event, as well as the Cinco de Mayo event, the festival in May, is organized with the purpose of celebrating education, culture, and community, and proceeds from these events will benefit HWOA's Scholarship Fund. Since 1999, so over the last 26 years, 632 students have been able to receive scholarships thanks to events like this. So thank you all for helping support that education for our future generations. Since its founding, this nonprofit has engaged in activities to advance educational opportunities for Hispanic women and their families, to celebrate and teach others about the Hispanic culture, and to become active participants in the community. This organization is supported by its board of directors, which is led by board president Jimena Flores, who I'm going to invite to the stage now to help introduce today's keynote speaker.
Tomorrow will be better is a wishful thought that requires action. Hope comes when faith is present and when we are able to acknowledge the change is possible. It is the guiding light at the end of the tunnel. After failure, hope remains present and all it takes is action. Good afternoon. My name is Jimena Flores. I am the board president of HWOA. Today, I am introducing our keynote speaker, and let me tell you what an honor I have because no one is better qualified to tell us what hope means and actions are necessary, how long it can take to see results than Keesa Smith-Brantley, the Executive Director of Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families. Keesa is going to give us the scoop about what hope means in her line of work, as her professional career has been centered on actions that bring hope for better opportunities, better outcomes, and a better future for all of us in Arkansas. Keesa has an extensive list of educational and professional achievements and accolades. I am not going to list them all because time is precious and we want to hear from her. Her bio is in your program. Before I give her the microphone, let me assure you that in Keesa, we all have a champion of actions and hope. Please help me welcome Keesa Smith-Brantley.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, hold on now. Look, I think I see almost everyone's finished their meal, so I'm gonna say that again. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, because there might be some crowd participation going on. So first, let me say, one, I think everyone who has mentioned me has set the bar high, so I'm gonna work to live up to that. But as stated, my name is Keesa Smith-Brantley, and it is truly an honor to be here with you today. I want to first and foremost thank the Hispanic Women's Organization of Arkansas for the invitation to speak, and specifically I want to thank Margarita for inviting me. I truly hope that you are honored as much as humanly possible for all of the things that you have done. And I want to thank you for thinking enough of me to invite me. My pastor has a saying that everyone does not have to be nice, and when they are, they do not have to be nice to you. So I am grateful for the chance to speak, and I'm Before I jump in, I also want to acknowledge just a handful of folks in the room. I want to acknowledge my board chair, who I don't see. There she is. So I want to acknowledge Sochi, my board chair, who is absolutely amazing, and I'm so appreciative that she is here today. And I also want to acknowledge two of my team members who are here with me today, Laura Kellums, our Northwest Arkansas Director, and Esther Schroeder, our Northwest Arkansas Development Director. And I definitely want you all to see Esther, because if I say anything that makes you excited about Arkansas Advocates and you want to give us $1 or $2 to make sure we can continue to do our work, please go see Esther. She is amazing in her own right, but not just because she raises money for us. And then I also want to acknowledge all of the partners in the room, the folks that make sure that we can do the work that we do, along with our elected officials, our mayors, the JPs, and everyone who I may or may not have met that is working to advance the public good. With that being said, I'm going to say something that many individuals have said, from celebrities to maybe even the individuals that you've heard speak before, and artists from all the way from George Strait to Drake, which is, I'm gonna be up here for a good time, but not a long time. So we're gonna roll right in. When I was thinking of the theme, I was really excited about the fact that we were talking about hope. Because what has been mentioned today is that there is a good amount of hopelessness and a lot of things that are happening in the world. And I thought that when thinking about how to talk about, start this conversation about hope with action, it would be important to start out with the definition of hope. So decided to look it up. Of course we think that we know the definitions, but decided to look it up. And the first definition I saw was, hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. And then another definition said, it's wanting something deeply. And then I really liked the last definition I found, which is, it is to cherish a desire with anticipation. And all of those sounded really, really good, but I think what hit me is something that everyone in this room probably already knows, which is, if we just have hope and it's not paired with real action, then unfortunately it becomes wishful thinking. And to hit that home, I was thinking, there's a lot of things I hope for, right? And a lot of things that won't manifest if we don't put action behind it. So to make it plain, for those of you that are close to my age, you might think like I do, which is, in the middle of the night, sometimes I really do hope I can get back to my college weight. Like let's just be plain. And I'll admit, college is about 20-ish years ago for me. So to get back to my college weight, right, it would take more than just hope. It's going to have to take me putting some plans into action, actualizing maybe an exercise plan, maybe, figuring out how to eat right if I'm going to do that. I have a strong hope that one day I might, have a couple of million or two that I can distribute to good causes and things of that nature. But if I'm not, at the very least, going to buy a lottery ticket, then that hope is not going to manifest itself into an actual action. And I imagine every last one of us has a hope or a dream, and maybe it's those personal things that I just talked about, or maybe it is a manifestation about what this world could be like, what our community could look like, what our state can do. But we've got to put action behind it, and if we're going to actually see something take place. And so in talking about how to put hope in action, I'm gonna give you 4 Ps today. And part of that is so that you'll remember what I talked about, but also it's easy for us to think back, it's for us to think back about how we can actualize hope into action. So the 4 Ps that I'm going to discuss today is for us to, 1, imagine the possibilities. So imagining the possibilities. And then the second P is going to be thinking about the problems. The third one is determining what policy is needed. I would not be a good executive director of Arkansas Advocates if I'm not here talking about policy and how important that is. And then the fourth and last P is to make a plan. So when we talk about possibility, I'm going to give you a couple statistics that many of you all may know about our state. So the state of Arkansas has the fourth highest rate of poverty. We are directly behind Louisiana, that ranks number 1, Mississippi, and New Mexico. We have recently discovered that we are the state with the highest rate of food insecurity. So the highest number of individuals who are not sure how to, that go to bed hungry, or potentially skip out on breakfast, or live in areas where they're not close to a grocery store, or somewhere where they can get food. There are individuals that are concerned about where their next meal is going to come from. If you look at any ranking pertaining to health, unfortunately, Arkansas tends to be at the bottom. We have high obesity. We are struggling with our mental health. There are a number of things that we are listed poorly on, and in education, we're starting to fall and have fallen behind other states, particularly in our investment in things like early childhood education and after-school programming. And to top those things, we've had several times in the past years where we've cut taxes. And when you say, what does that have to do with how we're ranking? What it does say, no matter how you believe about tax cuts, is that we've taken about $3 billion out of our state revenue, and that's billions of dollars that is not being invested in the things that we want to see happen in the state of Arkansas. So, listed a lot of things, and you're saying, how does that tie to the first P, which is possibilities? And to me, all of those things say our options are endless in terms of where we can improve, what we can do, what we can advocate for, what we can speak for. So the possibilities and the vision for what the future of Arkansas is, and the way in which we can, and the things that we can tackle are there. So if we continue to be focused on possibilities, we can look at those statistics, we can look at the things that I just named and say, how can we imagine a world where we're not at the top of the list of poverty? How can we imagine what I do in my community so that after-school programs are funded? There are possibilities, and we have to start with the possibilities, because the next P, which is problems, if we don't start with the possibility, then we'll let the problems consume us, right? So when we talk about problems, I don't think I have to tell anyone that we're living in unprecedented times. As Mayor Hines so rightfully stated, no matter where you fall politically, right now things are happening in the world that probably every last one of us, no matter where we are, can say, I don't like that. I want something better than that. And I will say that right now, as we're equally talking about problems, but talking about where hope fills in, it can be hard to hope right now, let alone to take action. So our state seems more callous. It seems like we're willing to tolerate suffering, and even more, we're willing to celebrate the suffering of our own neighbors. When making it even more plain, we have individuals that are taking people off the streets. They're detaining citizens and non-citizens alike, not just adults, but children. And in talking with the community, our organization has heard directly from parents that tell us they're scared to go to work or even go shopping for fear of what might happen when they leave the house. We're seeing people threatened, and we're even seeing people lose their jobs. And a lot of that is tied to speaking out. And all of this creates fear, and that fear is very purposeful. And the reason behind that fear is to make us feel like the problems are all consuming and that we can't take the next step. But the reality is that we can. And the reason why problem is one of the P's is because we have to be realistic. We have to know what is facing us in order for us to solve it. We have to know what we are approaching in order to do something different. So, We know we've thought about the possibilities, we've acknowledged the problems. The next thing we do is we go into the third P, which is the policy. And so you may be sitting there and saying, what does policy have to do with all of this? Well, again, I'm here from Arkansas Advocates, and I'm here to tell you that policy changes things. And so our organization is almost 50 years old, and for decades, we have been working to ensure that children have the resources and the opportunities that they need to thrive, from the ability to access health care to finding money to pay rent. All of these things are tied to policy. And so when I think about policy and I think about what it could solve, the reality is that many individuals several years ago thought about, what do we need to do around the number of children that don't have health care? And many unlikely partners came together, and we now have the Our Kids program, which is something that Arkansas Advocates worked with the governor at the time, which was Governor Huckabee, in order to have. There was a possibility noted, which is the ability for children to go get care. There were problems that were thought about, which is budget. How do we make sure that this program can stay and that it can be funded? But then there was policy, and that policy was put in place that said, we prioritize children and we prioritize their health care. And so it happened. We strongly believe that Arkansas can do better for its children. And as a result, we've seen these things happen over the years. And if you need more recent examples of being encouraged that good policy is being put in place, it's the fact that when you look at the last legislative session, we saw strides in policy in areas that for years we've been talking about it, but we didn't see movement. So in this last legislative session, the legislature passed a bill that will now allow for free breakfast for all children. If we were looking at that several years ago, folks would talk about all of the reasons why it couldn't happen, but it did. We equally saw a number of things regarding maternal health. Again, things that we've talked about for years, but we were able to see that happen. They didn't happen by magic. It happened because individuals envisioned a different Arkansas, envisioned a better Arkansas for children and for mothers and for all of the individuals living in it, and found a way to make it happen. So, with that being said, I want to jump, and I told you I'm up here for a good time, but not a long time, so I've already gotten to the last P, which is to plan. So all of those things taken separately don't get us to our end goal. If we're just imagining the possibilities, then we feel good, and it makes us hopeful about what the future is, but we're not moving toward it. And if we're consumed with the problems, then we never get out of our head and do the work that is necessary. And if we're just thinking about policy, that's great. Trust me, I spend a lot of time talking to other folks who love policy, and we sit around and we talk about all the great things that are happening in different states and what could happen in Arkansas. But again, if you're not going down to the Capitol, if you're not talking to legislators, if you're not talking to your policymakers and your elected officials, then that won't get you anywhere. We have to pair them all together, the possibilities, the problems, the policy, and then the plan, in order to actualize what we want to see for the future of Arkansas. So, again, as I close, so I've gotten to the end. I have a lot of hope, and I'm super excited about this conference and the fact that you all are here, because it means that you're invested in seeing a better Arkansas. And if I could add one more P to the list of things that we need to put hope into action, what I hope is that all of us in this room recognize a P that I didn't name, which is our power. You, each and every one of you, have the power to figure out what is the next step for the state of Arkansas. And whether that is talking to the individuals at your table, whatever it may be, if you take these P's together and say, I want a better future for this state, I want to see better for us, then we can actualize a better plan and a better day for the state of Arkansas. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Keesa, for your time and your message of hope today. We really, really appreciate it. And with that, we have reached the end of our program, but we hope that you will stick around for the closing session about how our youth can learn to lead. That will begin shortly upstairs in the chapel. And before we go, one last note of appreciation. We cannot leave without thanking Executive Director, I know she hates this part every year, I'm sorry, Margarita Solorzano. We would not be here without her and her hard work, so please give a round of applause, un aplauso for Margarita. And for more information about all of her hard work, what the Hispanic Women's Organization of Arkansas has done for all of these years, and or if you would like to make a donation, you can go to their website, HWOA.org. Again, my name is Antoinette Grajeda. Thank you so much for spending the day with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your Friday.